Hello and welcome to the program. It is the first Sunday of January, and so many of my friends and even my coworkers are doing a dry January, where you give up alcohol as a way to detox from the holidays, but also to reflect on the role that alcohol plays in your life and to hopefully lead you to make healthier choices in the new year. For some families, they may hope that a dry January leads to their loved one giving up drinking altogether. Whether it's drinking or substance use disorder, the dream for the new year is to do what you can to begin anew. And for those who are struggling, there are several nonprofits here in North Texas that are here to help you because you are not alone. Today, we are going to highlight two of those nonprofits, starting with Recovery Resource Council. Their mission is to promote wellness and recovery from disorders relating to alcohol, substance use, trauma, and mental health. They have been serving North Texas since 1946, and every year, thousands of individuals and families turn to them for help. Also being featured today, Impact Communities, formerly Drug Prevention Resources, and we'll talk to them in just a bit. But right now, for the first part of the program, joining me on the phone is Becky Tinney. Becky is the Director of Special Projects at Recovery Resource Council. Becky, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Anna. I'm so happy to be here.
Becky, a lot of families are starting the new year with the hope that a loved one who may be struggling with alcohol or a substance use disorder will be able to get the help that they need in 2024. What do you want them to know about the work that you do at Recovery Resource Council?
That's a great question to start off with, Anna. Recovery Resource Council is one of the most comprehensive nonprofit behavioral health care providers in North Texas. We have 3 campuses in Fort Worth, Dallas, and Denton, but we offer services to over 20 counties in North Texas. Really, the core of the services that we provide is offering a pathway to recovery and to treatment for individuals in our community. Our mission is really to promote wellness and recovery from disorders related to alcohol and substance use, trauma, and mental health. And families need to know that these struggles are so common in families. Like you said, Anna, at the beginning, these families are not alone, although it often feels that way when families are in these situations struggling with substance use or mental health issues. But nearly 1 in 3 adults have either a substance use disorder or a mental health illness, have experienced that in this last year. So it is incredibly common.
And so many of them start in their youth.
Absolutely, yes. Whether it's based in some sort of trauma, that eventually perpetuates into a substance use disorder, or it truly can be with early exposure. Statistics show that the earlier in life that an individual begins experimenting or is exposed to substances, they are at a much higher risk of developing a substance use disorder later on in life.
How difficult is it to really emphasize the fact that alcohol and substance use disorder is a disease? Because so many times people blame the individual who is struggling.
You're right. Stigma is a huge thing that we still struggle with when it comes to the treatment of mental health and substance use disorders. We've come a long way recently, but it's definitely still a huge issue and a huge barrier, as you just kind of touched on, a huge barrier for individuals who might want to look into treatment. They are fearful of what their friends and family may think. They're fearful of how it will impact their relationships, their jobs, their social circles. As long as that is still a factor in people's mindset, we still have work to do, right? We need to do a better job of normalizing this and normalizing getting help. We would want people to get help for any other health issue that they're facing, right? Whether it's diabetes or heart disease, we would encourage that person to seek help from a professional so that they could live a healthier life and heal. And we need to still do a better job of putting substance use disorder in that same category. We know now that substance use truly changes our brain chemistry. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that oftentimes the choice to begin using a substance, that is a choice, right? Oftentimes an individual, for whatever reason, could be for a legitimate medical reason. Often, yes, they make a choice at some point to utilize a substance. But the part that is not a choice is when we cross that boundary from using the substance to a substance use disorder. And that transition often happens with individuals without any conscious knowledge of it happening until it's too late.
And it's not as easy as just telling that person, you have to stop drinking, you have to stop doing drugs. You have to let them know where they can go for the help.
You're right. And you have to remember that that individual is using that substance for a reason. Like at a very basic level, we know that people use substances for a reason. And oftentimes it's as an unhealthy coping mechanism for something. And so it's not realistic for us to expect our loved one to give up that coping mechanism, even if it is unhealthy, without helping them to identify something to take its place, some way to heal either what is at that root cause of needing the coping mechanism in the first place, and then, of course, helping them to develop healthier coping mechanisms.
What are the services and programs that you provide there at Recovery Resource Council, Becky?
Gosh, we really have so many programs, but a couple that I think are probably most relevant to today's conversation. We have a fantastic information and referral department, or it's referred to as, the program is referred to as OSAR, which is Outreach, Screening, and Referral. And the focus of that program is helping families and individuals navigate kind of the overwhelming world of finding help. You know, in these situations, families are oftentimes unsure where to turn. Yeah. And so our information and referral department works really closely with individuals and their families to determine the type of care that they need and help them navigate appropriate treatment options. That service is free of charge. People can reach out and make an appointment. They can walk in and get the information that they need around education and counseling and treatment and trauma services, and sort of have a professional to walk alongside them and answer their questions and help guide them to where they need to be.
But I guess when people really think of Recovery Resource Council, they think of your recovery services. Can you tell me more about the 8 to 12-week outpatient treatment recovery?
Absolutely, yeah. So that program is our Recovery Now program, and that is an evidence-based 10 to 12-week outpatient treatment program, as you mentioned, for substance use disorders. That program is staffed by licensed chemical dependency counselors and includes the holistic kind of start to finish. So it starts with assessment, individualized case management, group counseling, individual counseling, customized discharge planning with aftercare groups, and referrals to other programs and services as needed for that client's specific situation.
Another one of your programs is the Enduring Families program. Tell me more about that program.
Sure, yeah. So our Enduring Families program is services specifically designed around veterans and their families. So the Enduring Families program provides free mental health counseling services to veterans and their families, ages 4 all the way through adulthood. We staff master level clinicians in that department to conduct therapy for the entire family. So whether that's individual counseling, whether that's family counseling, marriage counseling, non-directive child-centered play therapy. All of those services, again, are always free to veterans and their families. That's available at all 3 of our campuses and also over telehealth as well.
My guest once again, if you're just joining the program for this segment of our show, Becky Tinney. She is the Director of Special Projects at Recovery Resource Council, a North Texas nonprofit with over 75 years of experience in promoting wellness and recovery from disorders relating to alcohol, substance use, trauma, and mental health. They serve over 20 North Texas counties. You can find out more about their services that Becky's been sharing with us at recoverycouncil.org. That's recoverycouncil.org. What about the community outreach that you do? Do you have education programs for youth and adult prevention?
We do. We have some really incredible community-based outreach programs, Anna. First, we do have a very large youth prevention education department that does evidence-based curriculums in school, kindergarten all the way up through 12th grade. These programs are designed to empower youth with the knowledge and skills for making healthy choices. We also have free mental health counseling as a part of those programs. Licensed counselors who are actually able to go to the schools and work with students at no cost, which really helps to remove a lot of the barriers that families oftentimes face when they're trying to get their kid into services. It's cost, it's transportation, it's when am I going to do it? It doesn't fit into my schedule. So we're really excited to be able to offer that to people and really hope that really increases the likelihood that families are able to get their kids the help that they need. One of our newest programs is our overdose response team program. That is a partnership program between our agency and EMS providers. So we are currently providing that service in Dallas County and Denton and Tarrant County and part of Collin County. And so that program actually pairs a addiction professional from Recovery Resource Council with a community health paramedic from that area's EMS provider. And they actually do follow-up visits with individuals 24 to 72 hours after an overdose or a high-risk substance use situation has occurred, and do our best to connect with them and try to get them connected to resources. Because again, oftentimes when families are in this situation, they don't know where to turn to. And so with this program, we're not even waiting for them to reach out to us for information. We're actually bringing the information right to their doorstep.
One of the most shocking stories of 2023 was all the overdoses at middle schools and high schools.
Yeah. Oh, heartbreaking.
What advice, Becky, do you have for someone who is in the grips of alcohol or substance use disorder right now?
Gosh, I think if I had one piece of advice for somebody struggling, it would just be to not be afraid to reach out and ask for help. And I know that sounds silly, but truly, like I said, this is something that so many people are struggling with, especially in this kind of post-COVID, post-pandemic world. We saw substance use and mental health just skyrocket in that time. And so now more than ever, these issues are prevalent in our society, but so are the resources. I think a lot of organizations like ours and many others have really stepped up to the plate in trying to make our programs accessible to people utilizing telehealth and different things like that, because we know that there's so many people that need help right now. And we're working so hard to provide these services and programs that really can make a difference in people's lives. And I know it's overwhelming and I know it's scary, but we are here. This is our job, is to walk alongside people and help guide them through this journey of healing. And so there are people out here who care, who have dedicated their careers to helping individuals struggling in this area. And, we want you to call us. We want you to pick up the phone. All you have to do is say, I need help, right? You don't even have to know what kind of help you need, or you don't have to have all the answers. You just have to call us and say that you need help, and we'll be there to figure that out with you.
And once again, the website is recoverycouncil.org. What about for their family members? So many times family members feel at a loss to help their loved one. They feel that they're never listened to, or that they've been lied to over and over and over again.
Sure. Yeah, addiction, substance use disorder, it's something that truly impacts the entire family. It's not something that is only earth-shattering to that person who is in the grips of addiction, but it's something that impacts everybody around them. Oftentimes in these relationships, we see it where there's a family that has somebody who's struggling with substance use or addiction. You see a lot of codependency, a lot of toxicity in those dynamics. And the truth is that entire family unit or that entire relationship dynamic needs healing and needs help. It's not just that person struggling with substance use disorder. So, when we're working with individuals who are trying to get treatment and work their way to recovery, it's really important that the family or the other side of that relationship, whether it be a spouse or children or parents, whatever the specific situation is there, that all of them participate in that journey and all of them get the help that they need. Because when a family goes through years of struggling with this kind of issue, it does a lot of damage, and everybody involved needs and deserves professional help, and it's out there. So, again, I think just as we're talking to individuals in the midst of struggling with addiction, encouraging them to access treatment and raise your hand and say, I need help, I would absolutely say the same things to loved ones, that, your pain and suffering is valid and real, and again, needs help to heal and to process, just like the individual struggling with addiction themselves.
For someone who is struggling, oftentimes when they hear about dry January, they say, oh, well, that's for people who it's easy for them to give up alcohol. But for me, my body reacts if I don't get my fix.
Yeah. And so, I mean, kind of as you touched on, I think the concept of dry January is a great way to maybe assess what your relationship with alcohol looks like, and if you don't already know the answer to that question, right, is, okay, if I cut this out completely, what impact is that going to have on me? So doing something like dry January can definitely help you kind of put into perspective what your relationship with substances are. But in the case that you're kind of describing, where somebody already knows, hey, I know I can't just quit cold turkey. Again, that is completely valid. And again, I think sometimes something that is not recognized when people are looking at somebody who's struggling with substance use disorder, and, kind of like you touched on earlier, the concept of, well, why can't you just quit? Why can't you just stop? Is because when somebody has developed a substance use disorder, again, it changes the chemical balance in our bodies. It changes our neurochemistry, and you physically can't just stop.
Yeah.
It does put into play physical symptoms in our body, and our neurological pathways at this point have been wired to tell us to continue participating in that behavior, because that's what makes us feel, quote unquote, normal. And so if you already know that you are in that place with your substance use disorder, absolutely, please don't try to do that on your own. Part of assessing someone's level of need, like when they reach out to our information referral to get a screening, part of what they're going to talk about is, are you at that level in your substance use disorder where you need a medically supervised detox? Right, which is meaning where this person is going to go into a facility and they're going to detox from that substance, but they're going to do it under the 24/7 supervision of medical professionals who can administer medications and do different interventions that can help that person to safely detox from that substance without any unfortunate complications as a result of that detox. Because, detoxing from alcohol is one of the most dangerous things that somebody could try to do at home on their own.
Yeah.
And it could really have detrimental health implications. So it's really best to go to a facility where they can help you do that under supervision. Even a hospital, just your standard emergency room can help an individual detox more safely than if you were to do it at home.
Becky, thank you so much for taking time to be on the program. Our guest for this segment of the program has been Becky Tinney, the Director of Special Projects at Recovery Resource Council. They are a North Texas nonprofit with over 75 years of experience in promoting wellness and recovery from disorders relating to alcohol, substance use, trauma, and mental health. They serve over 20 North Texas counties. Find out more about their services and their programs at recoverycouncil.org. Becky, thank you for being on the program.
Thank you, Anna.